Hi, Jumbo. Welcome back again to our YouTube channel today. So, on today's episode, we're going to focus on something a little bit controversial, that is genetically modified foods. I was watching an interview 2 days ago, and I saw how Bill Gates confidently spoke about Africa as a potential area for the production of genetically modified foods. As an African, I got really angry and I thought about what might be the key thing that such people see in Africa that they want to invest so much in Africa. I'm not saying that investing in Africa is bad, but when you invest something that is potentially hazardous to our health, then we must be really concerned. And let me tell you something. One thing that I've realized about this world, I think I've lived in this world a little bit longer enough, so at least I know one or two things about life. One of the most predisposing factor to dangers such as GMOs is poverty. Poverty, because of our unstable political systems, unstable markets, unstable currency, and everything else that is involved. Everyone that has made it in life, such as the Bill Gates, all those people, they see Africa as a potential area because they deem us as inferior persons compared to the whites or compared to them. So the genetically modified the foods or the genetically modified plants, whatever thing they're going to bring in Africa, these things, as much as they're going to ensure sustainability and continuous supply of food, they are going to contribute immensely to the decline of production of indigenous plants or indigenous foods. Let me give you an instance. We have frequently had people talking about the improved kienyeji, for instance. So during the December holidays, I happened to have gone to my home village and we really searched for kienyeji chicken because I keep a few, but the ones that I have, I really do not want to sell them out or even eat them because I want to maximize on the profit that I'll get from them. So upon the search for this indigenous species of chicken, it was really hard to find pure kienyeji chicken in my local areas. And remember, our local area is one of the places that people used to keep a lot of chicken. They keep roaming around the farms. When you walk to the market, you just find people selling them by some old men and women just hanging with their chicken, asking you, my grandson, are you going to purchase this? And they're usually very cheap. But the recent trend is that you cannot find indigenous chicken nowadays in our local areas. Try if you haven't tried and confirm that what I'm telling you is true. Because our communities are currently dominated by improved kienyeji. So what does that tell you about genetically modified foods? I'm not saying that improved kienyeji is bad. I'm also a farmer. We also rear the same. But I was giving you an example because that is an example of genetically modified foods and the effect that it might have, the long-term effect that it might have on our indigenous crops. So this is what will happen if we adopt the genetical modification of foods. Number one, we are going to heavily rely on the GMOs. Then at the end of the day, we are going to forget about the production of our indigenous foods. Then what will happen next? In the next few years, assuming that the GMOs fail to attain the goals that they were initially meant for, what will happen? We will not be able to get even a single source of seed from the indigenous crops. So this means that if the GMOs indeed backfires on our health, they become cancerous, as people say, as a research document. We will not have any other alternative but to depend on this. And what does this say? It only says that we are going to present ourselves as slaves to people like Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation. These foundations they create by the name of helping Africans are indeed not meant to help Africans. It is only that we dance to their tune because they have the money, they have the investment resources that they can bring to our communities. But at the end of the day, are we at risk or not at risk of malnutrition at the end of the day? Because the more you rely on something, And with the GMOs, we've talked about the general health effects. We are not sure on the safety of these plants, of these crops, or of whatever thing that they are going to bring in our market today. So, one thing I also came to realize was that most European nations refused to adopt GMO. And those countries that are currently producing, the developed countries that are currently producing GMOs, like the United States, if you look at the corn market, when I'm talking about the corn market, I'm talking about the maize production. America is known especially for the production of corns, and these corns are genetically modified. But did you know that most of the corns that are currently being produced by the Americans are actually sold to the African nations, while they constantly fight for the indigenous crops? Because of their ability and their financial ability to purchase these foods, they have managed to conquer the world through selling us what we call toxic foods at the expense of our health. And we readily accept this. Understanding this fact, we come we recently had the government talking of approving genetically modified foods without consultations with the general stakeholders. We need involvement of various branches, that is the nutrition department, we need the public health department, we need the healthcare department. We need to ensure that whatever thing that you want to introduce for the people is safe for the people. So at this moment and time, I strongly say no to genetically modified foods, and I'll urge all the people, as much as you try as much as you can, to always have a small kitchen garden, and let us focus more on agriculture, because we are very strong Africans. We were literally created very strong, and normally whatever thing that we touch flourish. Let us forget about the white collar jobs. Let us forget about the town jobs and go back to our farms, because I still believe that the soil is one of the richest places that we can get our nutrients, we can get our meals, we can get whatever thing that we want. I'm used to reviewing some YouTube videos. If you have an opportunity to search for there's this guy who was once a doctor in Uganda, and because I'm also in the medical field, I felt like this guy is an inspiration, because he's a Ugandan. He was a medical doctor. He practiced for 1 year, then decided I want to focus on agriculture, and the guy has grown. He's really literally known for the production of chicken and eggs, but the guy is slowly expanding to piggery, is slowly expanding to other than poultry, is also doing dairy farming, and recently he started fish farming. This is an inspiration. Furthermore, there's a guy also who came from the UK and came back to Ghana. Ghana is one of the countries that is currently, Ghana and Zimbabwe actually, these are the countries that are recently trying as much as possible. The youths are pushing themselves to the maximum levels to ensure that they are getting direct farm produced without any chemical interference. So why can't we adopt this as Kenyans? Because we understand that malnutrition, yes, it is a major issue that is happening in our country. But if we look at our water table in the regions, especially where malnutrition are high, we have large water bases within, and the government is really not focusing on this. So, what can we do? The general perspective is that the youth should consider embracing agriculture, and we should strongly condemn anything that is pertaining to genetically modified foods. Number one, we are going to develop cancer because of genetical modification. Because what genetical modification literally involves is that they remove all the bad traits in a plant. And remember, nothing in this world can ever exist without a bad trait. And whatever thing they are making, they consider it much vigorous, or much, in terms of vigor, it is better compared to the indigenous crops, indigenous fruits, and even our indigenous animals. The consequences of this is that we are going to lose everything that we have. So say no, and say no to GMO. Whatever thing that involves genetical modification, just say no. Remember the days when we used to say cancer is for the rich. Nowadays, cancer is for everyone. Number one and number two, we've realized that there are no water sources nowadays because all our rivers, all our water bodies that we used to depend on are currently intoxicated with the chemicals from factories. And all the other chemicals that we are getting to spray on our plants also get their way into our rivers. We need to revive this country. And the only way to revive this country is to link up with each other, regardless of our tribe, regardless of our religion. We need to save this country. And the only way, again, we can save this is joining hands together. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly subscribe to it. If you haven't given a like, please try and give a like there, and also leave a comment. And if you have anything that you think we can share, anything that we can talk about, kindly feel free to contact me. I told you I'm the freest person, and this platform is for the people, especially the youth. So it is only you and I that can change this country. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, once again, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, because the more you subscribe, the more people we reach and the more goals we get. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.